Hello, everybody. So I am happy to report that we got our $1 billion buy. Specifically, a billion point oh five. What's 0.05 billion at this point between friends? You actually got a pretty decent price at 104,000 average on that addition of Bitcoin of 10,100 BTC. Note the humor of Simon Gerovich, right? CEO of MetaPlanet. A lot of people love MetaPlanet. I like it too. I'm invested in MetaPlanet. Much smaller position than MSTR, of course. But you know, the humor is nice. I mean, you know, please leave some for the rest of us. You bought our entire stack in 1 week, and it's true. They have just that, and he bought that much in just 1 week, which is kind of crazy. Saylor is not stopping. He's all in. He's the most maxi of all of the maxis, and you know it's starting to show in the speed at which the Bitcoin is accumulated. I think Saylor is responsible for a lot of the price action behind Bitcoin at this point. He's the biggest of the whales. He's the biggest of them all. Anyways, I want to talk about this. Common ATM was not done again. This is the second week where he doesn't do the common ATM. I know a lot of my viewers will be excited about that. I personally want him to keep doing the ATM, and it could be that he started again today, hopefully, because the ATM works. It's just that so few people understand the math behind the common ATM. I think a lot of people will understand the math over on the debt, the math on the debt. And let me show you this. I've highlighted this multiple times in the video. So now that the debt is trading above the notional value, now that the debt is trading above the 100, right? You owe 100 when you issue those preferred stock. The value is 100. That's the value of the debt that you're selling. You're selling a $100 debt. Well, you're not selling it for 100 right now because of the market noticing Strike and Strife ATM, and because of the market giving quite a bit of credit, if you ask me, on Strike and Strife ATM. They are trading at 107, right? 107 is what they're trading at. So really, this is close. You're selling $100 a debt for $107, and so that's $7 is not debt. That $7 is just gain. It's just BTC gain. It's profit. It's very similar to when you sell the common shares. You sell them for 170 or 1.6 or 1.70. That's your MNAV, and of course the MNAV, anything beyond the 1 is what you collect as the BTC gain. Well, he's doing a BTC gain on the debt instruments, on both of them. And so I'm calling this price to par. The Strike ATM is trading at a price to par of 107. The Strife ATM is trading at a price to par of 105. What if the creditworthiness of these instruments keeps going up? What if these instruments, say, start trading at I don't know, 160 or 170, then you would get a gain on the debt ATM, a gain on the preferred stock ATM, very similar to the gain on the common ATM. So this is very exciting to me to see this. I want to also talk about the torque. Note that, and this is the Strife and the Strike ATM. So first of all, the Strife ATM, right? He keeps ATMing. I mean, among the two of them, 48 million and 30 million. So the Strife ATM is slightly down today. Understandable. I think there's a lot of demand for a Stride ATM. They are very similar. These two, you still notice a trend in the Strife ATM. I think we will notice a similar trend on Stride when Stride gets their ATM. The point is, I'm reusing the slide for the Strife BTC torque because, of course, they're both issued at a 10% coupon. So the torque that you get on Stride should be the same torque as the torque that you get on Strife. The really way for the long-term investor, the really good way for a long-term investor to look at this is that really yeah, you bought $1 billion today, right? We got $1 billion extra Bitcoin that we borrowed and we bought Bitcoin, but really the return over a 10-year period is a 13.8 billion return. That's what to expect once you get the 30% ARR that Saylor expects for Bitcoin minus the 10% coupons that we have to give back, right? It's that coupon is, I heard that in some podcasts, can't remember which one, but that coupon is kind of a bribe. It's a bribe that you give to the buyer of a debt for them to not look at the BTC. You don't look at the Bitcoin because you got your little payment. So you're happy with your little payment and you're overlooking the bigger picture. So the delta, the money, the 10% that you pay is actually not that big of a check, not that big of a coupon when you collect 30% and you're going to give out 10%. And of course, I see the comment section coming. What if Bitcoin goes to zero? Well, if Bitcoin goes to zero, MSTR goes to zero, the money's lost, right? That's always been the case within these companies. You can't even think about investing in these companies if you think Bitcoin is going to go to zero, or if you even think Bitcoin is going to go to 10,000. You have to. It's a prerequisite to be bullish on Bitcoin to buy any of these instruments, and it's a prerequisite, of course, if you're a buyer of a debt, it's going to be a prerequisite for you too. If you're a buyer of a debt, you have to be bullish on Bitcoin as well. Anyways, the return that you are going to get on the price to par gain, right? The 100 for 107, right? The $3.2 million gain, for example, on the Strike ATM, that return, in my view, torqued over the long term, that should behave very much like the MSTR torque. You should probably expect a 7x over a 10-year period for that gain. Again, very impressive in my view. Quickly talking about the Strike ATM, the clear trend again. So we did 48 million. Again, we're down a little bit for the preferred. Remember, we issued $1 billion last week, but I have not enough data to see anything but a trend up. The trend is up. If you draw a line here, your trend is clearly up right here. It just oscillates from week to week, but the trend is clearly up for both of them. I can't wait to have the Stride ATM also issued so that we have 4 rows of ATMs right there. We'll have eventually 4 rows of ATMs right there. It is very exciting. One last point. A lot of people I see on X are complaining again, saying what's going on. MicroStrategy is down. Bitcoin is up. Well, actually, if you go back to Friday, you'll see that compared to Friday, we're actually not up that much on Bitcoin. It's like much of the 105, 104 on Bitcoin that we got was over the weekend. It was not on Friday. So that's point number one. Compared to Friday, we're not up that much. Point number two is easy ATMing. I hope so. I mean, I want him to ATM. I don't think 1.72 is that bad to ATM. Like I will agree that 1.45, 1.5 is not too good for ATM, but 1.72, that's fine by me if you want to ATM. Of course, we would all prefer to see him ATM, above a 2x, but at some point you gotta ATM. I mean, this is accretive. Right? There's an opportunity cost to not ATMing, and I think I could make a strong case that you should ATM to the max all the time. I think I could really make that case because that's an opportunity. If you're waiting months and months for the ATM to go back above a 2 and then and for the price to NAV to go above a 2 and then you start ATMing again, sure. It's better, it's more accretive, but you also wasted all of that time, and so I'm fully confident that Saylor sees this in real time, and he will do the ATM when the ATM is needed. I hope he's doing it. I don't want him to stop the ATM, although I fear that this is the end of the ATM era. We're reaching that end of the ATM era. Clearly, the preferreds are even more accretive than the ATM. We'll see what happens with that. But anyways, that $1 billion with the torque over a 10-year period, that's going to be pretty outstanding for, of course, the very long-term shareholder. Short-term holders, short-term price actions, that's some people do that. That's not what I do on this channel. So anyways, this was not financial advice, not investment advice. This is only entertainment. I hope you were entertained. Please like, please subscribe, follow me on Patreon, follow me on X. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.